today I am kicking off a special two-part series all about something we all love, but that can sometimes throw us off track: travel. And not just any travel. I am taking you behind the scenes of my recent trip to Spain, Catalonia to be exact, to share how I stayed healthy, energized, and connected to my goals while still fully enjoying the adventure. In this episode, we're going to talk about the prep mode, how to get into a healthy travel light mindset before you even step on the plane. I'll share my ways to plan ahead, pack with intention, and create the right mental frame to support your well-being on the road or in the air or on a train. We'll also get into the plane ride itself and how I navigated food and mindset at 30,000 feet, and what I did upon arrival to set myself up for the success from day one in a brand new place. So whether you've got a big trip coming up or just want to feel more in control of the next time you're on the go, this episode will help you build a travel experience that supports your health and not derails it. So let's get packed mentally and physically and come on in. Did you know that our struggle with weight doesn't start with the food on your plate or get fixed in the gym? 80% of our weight struggle is mental. That's right. The key to unlocking long-term weight release and management begins in your mind. Hi there, I'm Rita Black. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, weight loss expert, best-selling author, and the creator of the Shift Weight Mastery process. And not only have I helped thousands of people over the past 20 years achieve long-term weight mastery, I am also a former weight struggler, carb addict, and binge eater. And after 2 decades of failed diets and fad weight loss programs, I lost 40 pounds with the help of hypnosis. Not only did I release all that weight, I have kept it off for 25 years. Enter the Thin Thinking podcast, where you too will learn how to remove the mental roadblocks that keep you struggling. I'll give you the thin thinking tools, skills, and insights to help you develop the mindset you need, not only to achieve your ideal weight, but to stay there long term and live your best life. Sound good? Let's get started. Welcome. Buenos dias. Come on in. And let's talk travel, shall we? I know we have a couple of travel podcasts in my library of podcasts, but today I am going to be sharing start to share my trip to Spain with you, which was now a couple of months ago. I went in March, but because we were busy, because I had some other episodes I wanted to share with you first, I'm now unfolding this because it's the month of May and because a lot of people hit the road and have been asking about travel. I said, now's the time. So I'll be unveiling this in 2 parts. So please subscribe so you hear all the parts. Get that podcast right dinged and you'll get a notification that part 2 is ready for you. So just hit subscribe. It's so easy. So I am doing 2 parts. And what I did when I went to Spain was I took my little handy dandy recorder and I just recorded myself at various places along the trip and downloaded just like what I'm doing, how I practice thin thinking, and staying pretty much I came home pretty much the same weight as I did when I came. Spoiler alert. No great mystery there. But how did I do it? And what happened? And there were lots of fun little tidbits along the way on my trip to Spain. Now, the first part you're going to hear, it was just before I left. I was literally packing and holding this recorder in my hand and just going through, okay, when I go on a trip, these are the things that I do. I'll dive in without saying much more other than I was really sick. I don't know if some of you guys know, because I did some episodes with a very hoarse voice. You're going to hear that hoarse voice again because for the first little bit, and then I'm going to review. So go ahead and enjoy part 1, prepping for the trip. Hey there. So
I'm sitting here getting ready to leave tomorrow for Spain, and my voice isn't better yet. I was waiting. I've had a little sickness and my voice left me. Then I was waiting for it to return before I started recording this, but I'm just going to do little snippets anyway as I go on my trip. So I'm just going to walk you through a little quickly about how I prepare when I travel. As well, anytime I travel, these are the steps I take, whether it's for a weekend or 2 weeks away, which is where I am going to be. It's like almost 2 weeks away, traveling to Spain. It's a blustery, rainy day outside, and I've got a cold. It's really hard to imagine myself in Spain, even though this is also Spain right now. It's spring, so there's going to be rain there when we get there. So it helps me prepare. Anyway, I'm not going to sunny beach weather. All right, so one of the things that I do before any trip, and something I never did when I struggled with my weight, was think the trip through ahead of time as far as what my weight goals are and how I wanted to feel on my trip. Because when I struggled with my weight, I always ended up overeating when I went away. And then I ended up feeling horrible about myself, and it actually spoiled the trip. Or ended up spoiling the trip. Either I was like caught up in compulsive eating most of the time and not really being with other people or being with the beautiful setting I was in or what have you, or beating myself up, or both. What really helped me was to set up a habit of sitting myself down before I go away and just having a little one-on-one with myself and saying, "Hey, Rita, I know you want to come home feeling light, feeling good about yourself, and I have a vision." And if you've been in my world for a while, you probably know what I do, but I like to imagine when I leave to get on that airplane, a little afraid to do that nowadays with the FCC, little understaffed. But however, when I get on that airplane tomorrow, I'm going to feel a certain way in that seat. And my goal, because our brain really imprints feelings and emotions. So I'm going to imprint that feeling of being in the seat, and just so that the way I fit into it, the way I feel in it, so that when I come home, I want to feel the same way. Because I can, again, remember when I struggled with my weight many trips, being in the car or being in the plane or being on the train and feeling like twice as big just because I had inflammation and all those things that came from overeating and just feeling like blah, and that the seat was closing in on me. So I like to just have that feeling of lightness in my seat. I also like to just think through where I'm going. Like I'm going to a big city, Barcelona. I'm going to the country up into the Costa Brava, which is like I'm sure you may know where that is, but it's like the coastline above Barcelona, between Barcelona and France. And it's supposed to be a beautiful region where it's like the Tuscany of Spain. I'm getting clear on what I'm going to be doing, and then I'll be going to Valencia. And all throughout this trip, I'll be seeing my daughter, who I'm really excited. But I'm also aware I'm going to be with my daughter, who loves to eat, who loves it when her parents are there for them to take her out and spoil her. So I'm adding all of those inputs, all that data into my brain and thinking through, like, how can I have a healthy trip, a trip where I have fun, a trip where I come back feeling awesome and healthier than I am now. For me, like I said, the main thing is feeling good in my body. Makes me feel good all over. It allows me to be present, with my daughter, my husband, and the beautiful places that I'm going to see. So for me, making my health and the choices I make a priority for fun, but mostly for feeling good and stabilized, is really important for me. And I want to reemphasize this because I think we get duped into this, like, I'm going on vacation. And then we think like fun equals food. And it does to a certain degree, just because culturally it's really great to go out. And my husband and I have been listening to podcasts and they talk about all the amazing restaurants and stuff. But a lot of what they're describing isn't stuffing themselves with food, but the atmosphere of the restaurant, the beautiful setting that the restaurant is in, or the interesting setting the restaurant's in, like maybe a funky neighborhood or a beautiful beach setting. And then the aroma and the music and the people are all a part of these settings where food happens. And so for me, I like to take all of that in and think of that as the fun, not just like what I'm shoving in my mouth. And that helps me a lot bring sensuality into each experience without placing all of that pressure on the food to deliver fun for me, because it never does. Like, I'll enjoy, our mouth will only experience an amazing food item for about 3 bites. Those of you who know my 3-bite rule, and then it dissipates. So having to eat the whole thing or having to eat a lot, it isn't really giving me the fun. It is really me bringing myself fully present with an attitude of being here in the moment, enjoying the people I'm with, enjoying my surroundings, and having an experience and an adventure at this point in my life, and all the philosophical stuff that goes on with that, rather than just food. So I hope that makes sense. And like I said, I have that vision of coming home. Okay, so now a couple of things that I've done to set myself up for success as well in my prepping mode is, I don't know all the places we're going to eat or anything like that. I'm not that micromanaged. I like to be spontaneous. But I probably, when we do go out, and I'll be reporting this along the way, but I'll probably be checking out the restaurant and making sure it's got some healthy choices. Most restaurants have a healthy choice if you're willing to talk to the wait staff. I don't speak Spanish very well, and I definitely don't speak Catalan, because we're going to be in the Catalonia area of Spain. My husband speaks Spanish, thank God, but he doesn't speak Catalan either. I think they're pretty good with English for the most part, but if you go into those little teeny tiny villages, we're going to be probably pointing at things. So we'll see how we do with that. But something that I do is just, I bring protein bars with me because I'm going to be on a long plane journey. I know you can't bring a bunch of stuff, and like right now eggs are really expensive, and we couldn't even buy any yesterday, so I'm not going to be bringing hard-boiled eggs like I usually might. But I'm bringing protein bars. I'm bringing this peanut butter powder. I don't know if it's PD2 Fit, which has 2 tablespoons, is like 60 calories. It's got protein, but it doesn't have a lot of fat. And it's in a powder form, so I don't think they're going to have a problem with that on the security. Unless I bring some peanut allergy into this Spanish, and then I get arrested and put it in jail. But I will add water to that, and then let's say I can't have breakfast or I need a snack, I might lean in on that, maybe with some yogurt or something that I've bought from a store to satisfy me, because I usually, when I travel, only eat 2 meals a day. I'll usually eat a like mid-morning breakfast, and then I'll eat dinner. Now in Spain, I don't know. It might change because dinners are late. They're like, some restaurants don't open till 9, which drives me crazy. But you can do tapas before then, and maybe I'll just end up doing tapas. I don't know, and I'll keep you posted. But my goal is to bring protein and some sources with me, so that if I'm in the hotel or if I'm out and about running around and there aren't any valid or good deep fry, if it's not like junky tourist food, but like something I can just snack on to take me from one point to the other. Not every eating experience has to blow me out of the water. I'm pretty clear, like breakfast is, I usually keep it pretty simple, although I do hear that the Spanish have this bread that they toast with garlic, and then they give you a tomato to rub on the bread for breakfast. That sounds pretty amazing. So I might have to have that one morning, but I probably won't eat it every morning, because it's just, once I've had it, I'm like, I'm good. Okay. So protein source usually early on, and then making sure I bring protein with me. And again, I'm traveling, so it's not going to be that easy to bring a bunch of stuff with me, but I'll bring what I can. And then also trust myself to find other food sources, markets, stuff like that, which is always really fun to do. You know, to go to open markets and things. I'll be looking for those and asking the person at the hotel, like, where's the farmer's markets? Where can I get these things? And I'll be checking online too. That's that for like pre-thinking things through and prepping and bringing. Now I just want to go through, and we booked our hotel. This was another thing we did. Not in the center of the city, but enough outside that we have to walk in, and that will help us take care of our like moving around, and we're going to be walking tons. So I'm not worried about that, but we did go. We could either be right in the middle of the action, which I don't like anyway, usually, because I'm not a big, huge fan of noise. Let's be a little outside of town or the center of town. They have this road called, for those of you who've been to Barcelona, Les Rambles, I think it's called, the big main street. It's the big main street in Paris, and all pretty much big European cities have the big street that you walk on, and it's historical, and it's got all the tourist trap shops. So anyway, okay. And then there are 3 pillar behaviors. So I'm not thinking, oh my God, I've got to do all these things to be healthy. I usually just focus on 3 main things. And by focusing on those, that kind of keeps me, all my other behaviors underneath those. So like my primary behaviors help my sub-healthy behaviors stay in check. So for me, number 1 is exercise. So moving my body. And again, when you go to Europe, it's pretty easy to move and walk because everything is pretty walkable, or at least where we're going, it is. 2 is on a daily basis, getting enough protein. And I keep my refined carbs to 1 a day. Again, and I usually eat it with a protein because that is going to keep my carb zombie in check. I'm not going to be thinking about food all the time, and I won't be hungry. So if I eat a higher protein diet, and there's lots of yummy, usually I've never had a problem with like being sad about food when I'm away. I usually find really awesome things on the menu or in the shops. Like I'm not, and so I'll update you with those when we're there. The other thing I do within that food group, so my food are like mainly protein, 1 carb a day, and 1 drink if I have an alcoholic beverage a day. 1 fun, 1 and done, because 2 no fun. That's my little mantra. 1 and done, because 2 no fun. Now, here's something that helps me a lot, because I have a drink and my brain, because now I have an alcoholic beverage in me, it doesn't always remember my fine resolve. So I really work very hard. I don't work that hard, but I'm very aware that my brain is still going to try to talk me into, 2 will be fine. Oh, everybody. And what I do is I really focus on how I want to feel the next morning in that moment. So really, do we really want to have that? Because 1, you're not going to sleep so well tonight. And 2, you're going to get up early tomorrow and want to go walking and you're going to feel a little off. But 1, you're fine. So slow down, drink this drink slowly, enjoy, and you'll be fine. And usually when I'll be the ugly American, I'll ask for ice, and I'll have ice in my wine. I'll have ice in my beer, which kind of slows it down. And it's actually really good. Like I'll put beer and lime and salt and on ice, and it is great for a whole entire experience. Same with wine. If I have a wine and I add ice to it, it just slows it down. So that's the other one thing. So 1 is exercise, 2 is like food. And then I would say 3 is just taking my time every morning to stretch and connect with myself and set my goal for the end of the day, like how I want to go to bed feeling. And back with the food, I'm going to go back to that, the 3-bite rule. So if I want dessert, if I want something that's incredibly yummy looking, I'll grant myself a couple of those a day, 2, 3, but I just eat 3 bites. And usually I'm splitting it with somebody like my husband or my daughter, or all 3 of us will have, if we have an ice cream cone, I'll probably split it with my husband and have a few bites of it, and then he and my daughter can finish it. Or I would throw it away. You know what I mean? I'd be like, okay, I've experienced that. That's great. Throw it away because it's just going to end up in me. So that's my game plan. We'll see how it falls out or how it goes. But hopefully this has been helpful for you thinking through how you're going to set yourself up for success with your travels this summer.
Okay, so in that, what I just want to run through with you, because I think that it's just important to just wrap up what I just said there, is that before I go, I've got my mindset going. I'm not just getting on the plane and then thinking about it. Oh, I've got to manage and I'm not hoping to manage my weight while I'm away, but there are certain things that I always do. One, I always focus on my body and how I want it to feel that night before I go to bed. And also how I want to feel coming home on the plane. That's a huge one for me. Bringing myself to the present in everything. And what I mean by that is just what's so important to me is my mental freedom. So my food choices often when I'm traveling are aligned with that, because even though that the croissant may look amazing, or you can only get this churro in this special place, if it's going to hijack my brain and rob me of my freedom, I'm going to say thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to stay present in my body and my mind and enjoy and be grateful for just being able to travel and be in this place. And I do try to make sure to choose restaurants with at least some healthy choices, which pretty much is most, unless it's like a fast food joint or something like that, most everywhere. I definitely, as I mentioned, bring protein bars and various things depending on where I am going. If it's traveling in my car or traveling on a plane is a little more difficult, but protein bars are very portable, and those are my last. If all else fails, nuts and protein bars. You can get a little more creative if you don't have to get on a plane. And meals don't always have to be amazing, but perfunctory sometimes when you're traveling. It's just I need to stabilize and nourish myself for this walking tour of the city that we're going to do. And then I can go get a lovely lunch, but I just don't want to be starving or have my blood sugar tank. And book a hotel far from the center of the city. That's for me. So I walk. So I always have 3 pillars of what I do when I go away. One, I walk or move. I really try to, even though I was sick, I sounded sick, and I had a cold. We walked every day. I ate protein and 1 serving of like refined carb per day, plus 3 bites of things here and there, and 1 drink per day for the most part. There were a couple of days I had to, but I really did practice that because I don't like over drinking. And then taking time to stretch in the morning and really focus on how I want to feel at the end of the day. Okay, so let's dive into part 2, where I am going over the plane ride and then arriving in Barcelona and prepping myself for success there. Hey everyone, hope you are great. I am a few days into our trip now, and I wanted to catch you up on some of the things that are going on, that just tactics that I have been using to stay healthy on my trip. First of all, I just want to talk about the plane and airports, just because I think I mentioned this a little bit before. You never know about airports and what they're going to have available, because you might be getting there early or late. And usually airports have some healthy options, but if you arrive very early or very late or are transferring, you might arrive at a time where that's not going to give you great choices. As something that happened with us, as we were literally took a plane from Los Angeles to New York, and we had such a short transfer time that we weren't running, but we had to just go immediately to the next flight. And we hadn't eaten on the first flight because they didn't feed us. And if we hadn't brought protein bars and some snacks, it probably would have been tough, because then we had gotten a really long time without food. And then we would have been more apt to eat the really crappy snacks that they give you that are just really refined. Sometimes they have almonds, which is pretty cool that they offer you, but they didn't this time. It was all like pretzels, whatever. And the problem with those things, it's not like They're calorically heavy, but they're refined. And if you're eating them on an empty stomach, it's going to make you really hungry. And then when you go to eat, it's going to be harder to not overeat. I try to stay away from those. I just say no thanks to those and just rely on my own snacks on flights. The meal they served us, because the only time they ever serve you a free meal is when you go overseas. It was fine. I just ate the salad and it was like this chicken thing with tomatoes, which was perfectly fine, not very exciting. Left the brownie, left the whatever other carby cracker thing to the side. Pretty easy to do. And then they brought us a morning calzone, which I thought was really hilarious because it's a Spanish thing, and I don't think calzones have anything to do with Spain. And it was like literally this big dough ball with quote unquote eggs and spinach in the middle of it. So I opened it up and I ate the eggs and spinach, and it was just like salty and gross. And I didn't eat the doughy bread part. And I heard, it was very hilarious because I heard in line ahead of us, like when we were in customs, this couple was like, oh my God, I ate that calzone and oh, I feel so disgusting. It was very interesting because I was like, that thing would make me feel like if I ate that first thing in the morning, all that dough. I don't understand sometimes. Hospitals and airplane food, sometimes I just wonder who are making these menus. Not people who want anybody to be healthy, really. They're just focusing on the bottom line. Okay. Now, something that I try to do when and my husband does too, when we are traveling, is just try to eat a couple of meals a day. I think I mentioned this before, but also to focus on getting enough vegetables, salad, and fruit. So one of the first things what we did when we got here early in the morning, we checked in at the hotel. They let us check in early, which was awesome. And Barcelona is very cool. The first day we arrived, it was sunny. It's been raining the last couple of days, and today was our first sunny day while we were here. But nevertheless, it's a great city. It reminds me of New York 30 years ago. It's still got the cute little shops and things like that. But in the neighborhood where we're staying are all these sort of like small versions of Whole Foods where they have just beautiful fruits and vegetables. And so my husband and I went in there and got some strawberries and some plain yogurt and brought those back. We had a little refrigerator at the hotel, so we had something to have as snacks and to stabilize us. I always try to just have protein on hand to stay stabilized because you never know what you're going to get. And we did go out to breakfast. And oh my gosh, I have to tell you the funniest story. So we sat in this wonderful little Spanish, it was actually an Italian restaurant in this little neighborhood that we were in. It's a very quaint neighborhood. And we had some coffee, and I ordered that. They did not have anything like healthy looking on the menu too much. It was like croissant and all this stuff. And so I ordered like poached eggs with a slice of bacon and tomatoes. And they brought it, and it was delicious. And I do admit I ate the bread, which had that garlicky tomato stuff on it that I was telling you about earlier, and it was amazing. So that was my carb for the day. But what I wanted to tell you was, while we were sitting there, these two Spanish women came and sat down. And I just love people watching. And I don't know about you. I bet you do too. But these women, they were beautiful. They were teeny tiny, petite women. Because I'm 5'8". These women were probably 5 feet, 5'1", just petite. And I find Spanish people in general tend to be petite. My husband and I are both looking in clothing stores, and the clothing is just like very small for the most part. But anyhow, these women were dressed so well. Like this one woman, they were older than me. So, I'm 60 and they were probably 65, 68, but they dressed like, it was, one of them had on leather pants that had boots built into the pants. So you have to pull the boot on. So the boots were part of the pants. My husband's laughing in the background. That was just classic. But they like were in full makeup. I felt like, particularly because I had just been on like a 12-hour flight, so I had no makeup. I was like totally disheveled, and they were like dressed to the nines with jewelry and their little cashmere sweaters and these leather pants. And they order, it's 10:30 in the morning, they order beer. Like they just each ordered a pint of beer, which cracked it was a half pint of beer, my husband's telling me. And then after a while, after everybody cleared out except my husband and I, they moved over a couple of tables and we're like, why are they moving away from us? Do we smell or something? And they whipped out a couple of cigarettes and started smoking. So it was just like, okay, we're in Spain. Got it. I just thought I'd share that. And then my daughter said, oh yeah. And in Valencia, she says, everybody, women, men in the 10 o'clock, 11, drinking beer, that's like totally part of the culture. And in fact, they serve you, if you order coffee in the morning, they say, and would you like a beer with that? So I just thought that was just so wild. Anyway, there you go. If you're Spanish or if you have been around this part of the world, then you're probably like, yeah, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. But I was just like, wow, people in LA are just so type A. They're there with their laptops. There's no laptops here, like people typing away on their laptops. They're just like people watching, smoking their cigarettes, living the life. Okay. What did I want to say? Oh, okay. So then, yeah, protein. I try to focus on protein for breakfast, looking at the menu, scanning it just again, because I want to start the day stabilized. And I try to avoid le croissant or the chocolate. My dear husband, who is sitting here, bought a chocolate croissant this morning for my daughter. And he bought some eggs too and tortilla. But like for me to eat that would just be tough going. So even though it looks amazing, and I did tear off a piece of this stuff without the chocolate, starting the day with that would make me just hungrier and start thinking more about food. So I went for the tortilla, which had a little potato. It's delicious. It was fine. No problems there. So trying to stay stable, and the 3-bite rule has worked out. It worked out for some gelato the other day. Hilarious. Okay, I'm going to tell you another quick hilarious story. And then we went to a gin bar last night. We happened upon it. We were just going out wandering around after dinner because we finished dinner early, like at 8:30 or something, and everybody is just starting to go out at 8:30. And we found this gin bar, and it was empty because nobody starts going to the bars until 10:30. So we wandered in. This guy was so hilarious. He was the owner, and he was very sweet to us. And my husband speaks really great Spanish, so he was able to strike up a conversation. And we sat down, and he brought us gin from, my husband had a regular gin and tonic. I had this botanical gin, and my daughter had this like strawberry girly girl gin drink. And the reason why I'm telling this story is enjoyed the gin drink. It was great. But the snacks, oh my gosh, the man's wife, first of all, she brought us some popcorn. Okay. And I try to stay away from the snacks. My daughter ate it. So she brought more popcorn. And then when the popcorn was done, she brought out bugles. These, I don't know if you know what bugles are, but they're like, again, I don't even know what they're the shape of a bugle, and they're like refined, and I don't even know what they taste because I've never had one, but my daughter assured me they were good. And then she brought out like this mixed party snacky pretzels and nuts and stuff like that. And then we stayed longer, and she brought out a bowl of gumdrops. Like, I have never had anybody bring gumdrops, which of course I steered clear from because those are a trigger food. So I avoided those. But what I noted was interesting, because my daughter ate all of them, was this morning she woke up and she said, oh my God, I am so hungry. Why am I so hungry? And I said, because you ate those gumdrops last night. And she's like, oh, okay, I get it. So yeah, like eating that sugary stuff right before you go to bed, you are going to wake up feeling starving. Anyway, those are my travel stories. Oh, one other thing. I realized my husband bought this thing of chocolate that you can melt to have with those wonderful strawberries that we got for our room. And we didn't have a microwave in our room, so we melted it with hot water. And then I realized as I had a little bit of it, I was like, oh, this is a trigger food, because now I'm thinking about it all the time. So I restricted myself from that, but I wanted just to let you know. So you're always like, trigger foods are things that you just, oh, I'm having a little more of that. Oh, I need a little more of that. That becomes a problem. So better to just cut yourself off. You'll enjoy the trip a lot more. But anyway, that's it. And I hope this has been interesting. I'll be reporting on more as things roll out here from Barcelona and onward. Okay, so to review that, really the bottom line is keeping focused on protein, making sure you're getting protein to stabilize yourself throughout the day, using that 3-bite rule, keeping the carbs to a minimum. And know when you're in Spain, they are going to bring you bowls of stuff when you drink. That's just their culture. It's like at any bar, they're going to bring you these little bowls. And if you eat what's in the bowl, they're going to bring you something different and keep bringing you stuff. So either tell them no or have a daughter like mine who's just going to eat it all for you. And then Spanish, the lovely made up Spanish women in their leather pants. I didn't mean to tell you that they did not eat anything. They just drank beer and smoked cigarettes. So maybe there's something to long life. Let's drink beer and smoke cigarettes, shall we? Maybe not. Maybe that's not the best idea. So anyway, I hope this was enjoyable for you. And next week, we are going to dive into the trip itself and more stories, more mindset of travel. And so I hope you stick with me on this journey. It's been a wonderful ride with you here today. And remember to subscribe. And also remember that the key, and probably the only key to unlocking the door of the weight struggle, is inside you. So keep listening and find it. And I will see you here for part 2 next week. Thanks for listening to the Thin Thinking Podcast. Did that episode go by way too fast for you? If so, and you want to dive deeper into the mindset of long-term weight release, head on over to www.shiftweightmastery.com. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com, where you'll find numerous tools and resources to help you unlock your mind for permanent weight release, tips, strategies, and more. And be sure to check the show notes to learn more about my book, From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss, and to learn how to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode.